All right. What up, everybody? Welcome back to the Yama channel. My name is Thinker St. James. This is next week's fights, or this week's fights. This is this week's fights. Myself and the creative player himself, my good friend and president of the Tracy Cortez fan club, I believe it's Chase Parton. Brother, how are you?
Dude, now that I have that title, way better. I cannot argue with that one. You will never catch me slipping. That is my girl, and I tell you what, we'll get into it, of course.
Absolutely. We got a lot to go over on this one here, the upcoming fights for this week. So, as we had talked about a little bit before we got going here, this stream is chill. I try to keep the live streams, conversational and just going over a lot of the information based on what we know and how we're feeling about the upcoming events and whatnot. But for this stream, I did some research, so these should be a little bit more informed than they might otherwise be. So hopefully we can, get some decent information out there on some of these fights. And we got a couple of really good ones. This card started off a little bit shaky. There's been a lot of changes to the card, but the version of it that we have now is not bad, and a couple of really decent fights on here. What do you think about this card?
I know a few people, not too many. And normally, most of the people that I do know, I don't know their opponent, so it's kind of hard to toss up what's going to happen. I know Josh Van's here. He's finally getting his shine. He's not in the ring yet, so I'm not gonna say much. But
going up against a vet, so we'll get into it for real. First thing to note about this card: this is UFC Denver, and so off the bat, fighting at elevation. Gas tanks are going to be in question in general. There are a good amount of fighters on the card that do train in Colorado, so a lot of people who might be a little bit more acclimated to the elevation. Fighters from outside the region, might have a little bit more trouble with that. So that's just an overall note for all of these fights. But the first fight on the card is Montel Jackson versus Damon Blackshear. So the one thing to note about this fight that I think is most important is that Blackshear, his wrestling is fantastic. This dude is he got a twister in the fight before last. Then he took his next fight like on 2 weeks notice or something like that. It was like a really quick turnaround. He did not win that fight, but he did not get starched. It was a really competitive fight. So coming in back to back, The wrestling is definitely there. However, Jackson, on the other hand, is a dude with some crazy hands. And I saw a stat that I thought was insane. 5-1 in his last 6 with 10 knockdowns in those 5 that he's won. Or
Damn,
actually,
okay,
I
so
think in 6 or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's kind of crazy. So that's more than one per most of the matchups.
Yeah.
So the one thing I'll note just to start off is this was actually not supposed to be the opener. It was supposed to be Petrosky. He was supposed to be the first one. They did switch it. I don't know why, but either way, something to know.
There's
And
been all kinds
look,
of weirdness with the card
yeah.
changing up.
And so looking back at Damon's record, you are right. He did fight Jose Johnson. I think that's who that is.
Yeah. So we got the twister
August
over it, tall for nothing,
he
motherfucker.
okay, yeah, he won that on August 12th, and then he lost by decision August 19th. So
There you go.
So 1 week apart.
Oh,
And
1 week apart, yeah.
Yeah, so I do maybe remember this. I do like Mario Batista. I don't think that's a bad loss. I mean, even if you go to decision with him, so that is something to note. I do like that. But Montel, what is it? Montel, don't know too much about him, but I'm gonna say this with the elevation note that you had is people who are strikers, we may see them come out, try to get the quicker kill because they're not going to last very long, and they know that the stand up is where the fight starts and it can end right there. So
absolutely, yeah, no, definitely. I mean, anytime that these are going into later rounds, you're going to be seeing some issues with the tanks, I would think. So the note that about the wrestling for Blackshear is that this is purely off of the community's rumbling. So I don't know how legitimate I would say it is. I mean, based on his other fights, I don't necessarily know if I fuck with it, but they're saying that if the wrestling isn't there, if he's not able to secure the takedowns, then he's not going to have anything to throw at Jackson. Otherwise, I don't know if that how that's going to play out. If he can tie him up early and keep him neutralized, in those early rounds, then taking it into a later, I would say, a third round sub might be a safe one or a decision win. If Jackson can let those hands go early, yeah, that's going to work out well for him. And I don't think that he's had too much times to show his Jackson his ground game yet. So I mean, like, there might be some some hidden elements there that might be more impressive than he's letting on with his amazing hands.
yeah, I actually think you made a really good pick for it. Blackshear, he's coming in as the underdog, and there's probably good reason because Montel's probably going to knock him at least once, maybe. But if Damon can, scramble out of that, panic his way to the grappling, maybe he gasses him out. Maybe he's got the fresher tank. He is the younger fighter. And sub or decision late in the fight, or go to the judges, whatever. I think that's pretty good.
Absolutely, and I mean, with the techniques that he has, he's got a lot of weapons in the bag of tricks. I mean, pulling off a twister in the UFC is like, I mean, I think he's one of 5 people that's done it. So
yeah,
something like that.
2, I think, but
yeah. I mean, it's not a lot. So out of an entire roster of fighters, I mean, he's got some slick tricks up his sleeve. So. I would lean towards Blackshear. I think if you're going to go for Jackson, you probably want to go for knockout there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's what I got for that. Let's move on to the aforementioned Petrosky versus Fremd. Now, this fight, I think, is interesting because Petrosky has been showing he is extremely chinny. And I don't know if I can remember another time that a person has been knocked out by someone else's hip. But that happened to Petrosky in his last fight. Petrosky got knocked out by the hip of Jacob Malkoun. So, I mean, it's one of those deals where I think it's kind of similar. I mean, Fremd has knockout power. I mean, he's got some powerful hands. He's kind of had a little bit of a patchier run from what I believe. I think he lost his last fight, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I might be wrong about that. He might have won his last one, but I know that he's 11-5. It's not been full on wins across the board, but I mean, he does have the power to touch, and Petrosky is touchable. So,
to touch on your points, yes, he did come off a recent L. It is to Roman Kopylov.
There you go.
argue that's a bad, a good loss to have. Not a bad way to say it, but argue whatever you want. I've heard Josh Freeman is not that great. His, if he was a powerful striker going against somebody who was deemed, like somebody chinny or whatever, he's coming off 2 straight knockouts, one being the hip bone. It's crazy, but or the cup, whatever you want to believe. And so the -120 favorite doesn't lead me to believe that they think he's gonna knock him out or finish him pretty easily. And Andre, uh, this is your moment to prove everybody wrong. Like, you're the underdog. This is a really good one to bet on, just because he's got a lot to prove. Coming off some weird fluke incident, like and you're being disrespected now. You lose to Michelle Pereira, whatever you want to call it. That's fine. Then you lose to who the fuck was it? It was just some random guy. Yeah, exactly. So you lose. This is your time to prove people wrong and win some people some money. It ain't even about that, because obviously you want to make a career, you want to make money yourself, but this is an easy one for you, I think. Obviously, you're shorter, but come on, anything's possible, and you got to know that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. This is definitely a fight that he needs to really show out in. I mean, show off some of the abilities that he has. I mean, like I said, is a little bit shorter, but it's not so crazy. I mean, like,
4 inches is kind of crazy. I mean, and one of them might be lying. So,
well, fair. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that he has an ability there, like in his wrestling. I mean, like he got knocked out by the hip or cup because he was going in for a takedown. I mean,
yeah, true. Must be confident there.
Yeah, he has some decent ground game. I mean, he's racked up a couple of decent wins in his time. I don't think that it needs to be a one-sided affair one way or another. Like I said, the odds are kind of close on this one. So decent dog there. I just worry about that chin. That's going to be a big concern. I mean, the knockouts that he's had, I think that he's, I believe, coming off back-to-back knockouts. That's starting to get a little worrisome. We've seen other fighters who have a lot of, great versatility, but when the chin is just not strong enough to withstand the power coming at them, it really goes out the window. So I'd be a little bit careful about putting the money on the dog, but it's not a terrible pick if you want to throw a lineman.
Well, we saw Grant Dawson. He put on a horrible performance, but he did win, and he did not get knocked out. So if Andre Petroski wants to go ahead and wrestle and go and do his thing all the way to decision, I'm not mad at that, because you are coming off 2 straight times where you've been finished. Like, do you want to get a third? Do you want to be going into your 4th fight with 3 straight finishes on you? Like, you're not Dominic Reyes, guy. Like, just understand that this is your moment to prove people wrong. Wrestle fuck your way to a decision, bro. Who gives a fuck? This is when you're an underdog and like you win, like it's got to be in the worst way for the people who had money on the favorite. Like, you got to just make it so uninteresting for them, and they lose by boring. Like, that's how you got to do it, Andre. That's my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and like you said, Friend is not an insurmountable opposition here. I mean, like, he does have decent hands. I mean, he does throw with a decent amount of power, but really, I think that the key for Petroski on this one is to outstyle and outclass. It's to be the more technically proficient fighter in the game on this one. So if you can do that, just navigate the waters in a way that makes sense, I think that there's potential there. So yeah, decent fight. I like that one.
No, for sure. I'm actually kind of excited to put some money on that. Hopefully.
We'll yeah, for sure. I'd say be careful with your parlays and whatnot. You might want to do a couple of different ones just to mix it up a little bit based on what we're seeing here.
I'm normally just betting right before the fight on that fight. I'm normally just deciding like, I'll just go for it right now. And Anthony Smith, you fucked me over. But
yeah, well, and it's actually really not a bad way to do it if you are cool with doing straights, because I mean, we see, luckily, a shout out to the Discord and all the Discord homies. We get a lot of information as it's happening, and the weigh-ins and stuff. There's all kinds of things that happen between now and then. The time between even from the start of the walk to the cage. Right. There's always something. So there's a lot of factors to keep in your head. So a lot of times, if you're able to throw that money down just before the fight starts, it's not a bad way to do it if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, for sure.
True. So next up is Luana Santos versus Maria Agapova. Just before we get into the fight itself, I have some crazy information that I found out about Maria Agapova. She apparently is on the verge of homelessness. I believe, is from Kyrgyzstan, came over to the United States to fight, and claims that she's having to, like couch surf, I guess, and she's been in some weird sort of snags, and apparently at one point she was concerned that there was some people trying to sell her into sex slavery. The whole narrative there was very concerning, I guess, is the best way to put it. So factor that in however you want to factor that into this fight. I pray for her situation and all that kind of stuff, but did think that it's kind of prescient to put that information out there just off the bat. Odd situation going on in Agapova's personal life. So all of that being said, what do you think of this fight, Chase?
The odds may lead you to believe that this is going to be very one-sided, and for women's prelims, kind of interesting to see a minus 390. But this is another one that I for sure would put money on. Let me explain why too. Is because she's actually from Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan. So she's a dog.
Okay. Yeah.
Whoever comes from there, they're just bred different. And obviously she's been homeless because she's in a war-torn country, or place.
No, but that's over here though.
Oh, well, she's crazy. I mean, well, she's crazy. That's what that one is. But she
came to the U.S. and became homeless.
Would need this. That's even crazier. Like she looks like the type of person that would do all of that crazy stuff or be in that situation. I'm not even trying to say that to her, but that also leads me to believe that she's gonna win this fucking fight. What the hell? Plus 290, dog. Listen, think about this. This is short notice too, I believe.
Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah.
Think about this. She can't even come off the couch, bro. She's coming off of the sidewalk. And she's gonna come out here and win. Like, it's gonna be a good one. I'm very excited for this.
And actually,
kickboxer too. She's got it.
Okay, well, pull back just a second. I don't think is short notice. I think that that's the Klein versus Jasdovicius fight, which is still not updated on ESPN Plus here. But
okay.
But either which way. So let me break down a couple of the research points that I got out of this one. Agapova, you say she's a kickboxer. That is all she is. She has no ground game whatsoever. I'd be very, very concerned about the wrestling from Santos. Santos' striking is not great. So, I mean, if she can catch her early, there might be, or can keep it at range, that would be really, really spectacular for her. I'm just worried that she's not super long. I mean, women's MMA, the body types, they're not necessarily going to have, crazy reach. She is longer than Santos. So I mean, if she can stay at range, if she can keep a wide stance, maybe do some nice shuffling to stay in and out, there is potential for the striking to go her way a little bit. But it's concerning. I think that the odds are that way for a reason. I mean, she is hungry, like you said. Coming in with all she's got going on there.
She's literally hungry, not even just. Like, bro, you said it right. Arrogant savage, dude. Do you hear this? This woman,
what up, boy?
She is homeless. Hungrier than ever. Literally.
It's a dire situation for her, for sure. 27 years old and potentially homeless if she's not winning her fights.
There's one other thing to note is she either has the worst financial advisor or she doesn't have it. She's homeless. I mean, obviously, because she's been in the UFC. She's been here for a while.
It's true, yeah.
Why is she so broke? Like, what is the problem? Do you just not want to pay for a home? I mean, I get it, but like,
I think that going a little ham bone on the girl. There's a lot of circumstances that can go into that.
No, for real. Listen. I agree. I'm just bullshitting. Like, I mean,
I feel you though.
Whatever the case may be, I do have her to win this one, so she can love or hate me. I mean, I got money either way, girl.
Fair enough. I mean, it's a spicy take. I mean, I think that's if you're going up with a straight, I would say that's an okay straight. Just put one on it and let that ride. I would be very concerned about parlaying that, but if that's, I think that Santos really with getting the takedowns is probably going to be, you know, her best bet. And if she's able to get a takedown, it's pretty much just going to be, you know, I think that's where it's gonna stay. What's gonna, yeah, I see it being similar. I forget which fight it was, but recently, I believe it was on the last stream that we did, where we were talking about somebody with, it was the Robertson fight where Robertson Watterson, where Robertson just had like fucking, you know, 12 minutes of control time. I see that being something that could possibly happen here too. So Santos is, I think, your safe bet if you want to put a straight on Agapova. You know, do it at your own peril, but that's, you know, she is fighting, fighting with the hunger, as Chase mentioned.
One last thing I'll know is, like, this is the perfect fight. Like, you gotta look at just like the story that the fight will tell. Is like, once people think like, oh, this is a perfect parlay piece, minus 390, she's gonna wrestle her all fight. No way I lose this. They put everything on this girl. She's gonna be in so many parlays. Elite is going to be the one that's gonna think that she's fucking got it. And then she's going to lose, and people are going to be like, this is why fucking women's MMA sucks. This is why I can't watch this shit. I can just see it happening. It's painted all over right there.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, and that's a if you're a member of the Discord, you know how accurate that statement is. So, yeah, very good call. But yeah, no, I mean, you know, interesting fight, and I think that there's definitely potential for Agapova to show what we say about all of these fights whenever we're getting on a fighter's abilities in the cage is show us otherwise. All you have to do is come out and give a performance that shuts us up, and then you've got fans right there. So
there you go.
Absolutely. All right, moving on. Yeah, shout out to all the homeless cats out there, for real. What's Shab up to nowadays? He doing food trucks and shit like that? I don't know. Anyway, fuck all that noise though, because it is the man, the myth, the legend of the Discord, Josh Van versus the veteran Charles Johnson. Chase, go ahead, because I know you got a lot to say about this dude.
This guy is he's just good. He's finally getting to eat. Like, that's really the problem here, is like, people have been so scared, and it actually makes so much sense. Like, this fight is actually so much, this is the bridge between your watch along and mine. You guys have been sitting here for so long saying, wow, this you know, CJ, what is his name? Charles Johnson.
Yep.
This dude fights so often. I see him all the time. And like, we just have a guy who nobody wants to fight. They all pull out. They want to try to pull some bullshit where they miss weight, or the UFC wants to switch the matchup, or, you know, this and that, whatever the case may be. We are finally here, and this is the perfect time. Josh Van, I know you are the short guy here. I see the difference here. This is pretty large. 5'5" is really short, my guy, but you were in the perfect weight class for it. And we've already seen the Asu, he disproved the height thing. All you got to do is just wrestle tall guys in this low division. Like, they're probably not going to knock you. And I think Josh Van is such a good wrestler. Like, it's so underrated because he's a striker. Like, you see him get knockouts and you're like, wow, this dude can fucking crack, which he obviously can. But his wrestling, it's so good because you think he's gonna punch you and he just picks you up and dumps you. Like, he can't hold you down. Then that's definitely a problem. He's not gonna like get a ground and pound or try to sub you, but he did work on that for his fight with the Nurmagomedov, or whatever the fuck his name was, Ulanbekov. So maybe he does have a ground game now. Maybe he will try to shoot for some submission. He specifically said he was gonna leg lock Ulanbekov. I don't believe that. That's a crazy thing, because those dudes don't tap to leg locks. But Josh Van is going to get this one in the bag. Charles Johnson put on a good performance for my guy, because like, this should be a performance that Josh Van gets done. But then we look back like, wow, like that was a Sugar Sean Chris Mutino is a great example of this. That's a performance that you watch back and you're like, holy shit, this is the star right here. Like, this is the lightning in the bottle performance that we were waiting for. It's right here.
Fair enough. Yeah. So this is a short notice fight for CJ, for Charles Johnson. That does not fare well for him, you know, against Josh Van, who is all about the volume, all about the cardio. I mean, the one thing though that was an interesting note is that both of these guys dropped their first rounds generally. So I think that really one of the big deciding factors here, and again, we're talking about elevation, you know, we're talking about Denver. You got to keep that in mind for all of these fights. I think that whoever has comes out of the gate a little bit hungrier, but also can keep that going, that I think is going to be the big deal here, because I know that Johnson's cardio is pretty damn good. Van has, I think, been able to show that he's got good cardio, he's got good endurance as well, but like it's going to be, two opposing forces with that same ability, in that regard at least. I think Josh is way more of a volume striker, so I mean, it's as far as like what he's going to be able to do on with the hands, he's going to be faster. But Johnson can tie him up. I mean, it's like you said, he can get the takedown. If Johnson is pretty decent on the ground when he's there. I mean, he's not a wizard at all by any respect,
Yeah.
by any stretch. But it is going to be interesting to see what kind of scrambles they end up getting into, who can get the better of the wrestling, and really, if Van can put on the show that I know that you're looking for, and a lot of people are. I mean, they don't have the odds up here for this one. I'm pretty sure that Van is a pretty high favorite on this one. I don't see any reason why he doesn't get this job done. I like CJ a lot. He's a dude that me and Vitz King are always rooting for. Just as a vet of the game. What I believe that we had said in our last watch along when we were watching him is that for a dude that's 15-6 who's been around for quite a while, the skills need to advance with you. You need to be advancing your skills throughout your ascension here, because you start racking up those losses, you're getting into journeyman territory, and that's where you do not want to be. And going up against a guy, Josh Van, 10-1, this is going to be a very big test for him. If he can overcome it, it's going to be insane. But I don't see any reason why Josh Van cannot get this done.
Well, I will actually argue my own point. I will be unbiased, and I will critique Josh Van. If the game plan for Josh Van, like you said, they both take the first round off. They don't give a fuck about it. They just do fuck all. So if Josh Van's game plan is I got to come out here and put on a good first round, he's going to let me have the first round. I can tee off on him and maybe knock him out, finish him. And then he's going to gas himself out because, the elevation is against him. And while Josh Van's cardio is great, he normally takes the first round off. And if he doesn't, he could, as a youthful, spry guy, like that's just something that you would do. You jump the gun too quick. You'll have those moments. And it would be a good veteran move for Charles Johnson, weather that storm. And then you have your 2 and 3, and you got to make a big comeback, and you better, be able to either put him away or be very confident that you're going to wrestle him or whatever the fuck you're going to do. But I just hope Josh sticks to what he knows, what he's done, and what he's got him, his glory in my book. And don't fuck up the first round. Keep the gas tank until 2. Just do what you've done.
Absolutely. And I really want to see Josh Van get this win, not only because I think he's a good fighter, but also because I want to see more cringy fucking call-outs and memes from him. This dude is a cringe machine. I am loving it.
Yeah, no, he's pretty funny. He's getting up there. I don't think, a lot of people don't see it because they don't have him on Twitter, but I have all of his notifications, and he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Yeah. I forget exactly how he worded it, but he was saying that somebody doesn't want to take a bus, so he's got a van for him or something. I was like, oh, bro, come on, This is not it. Like,
yeah, wordplay with his last name.
Yeah, he's reaching, but let's go, man. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I can fuck with it. I want to see more from him. Yeah, check out his Twitter, Savage. You'll see exactly what we're talking about. All right. So moving on, I'm gonna go over to Google for this one because they do not have it on the ESPN page yet. Let me just do it this way.
Oh, are you talking about the fight that maybe got canceled?
No, it's the should be on here. It's the Klein versus. Oh, they still have, did Klein pull out?
I think I posted it in the rumor. Did that happen today? It was 9 hours ago. Some dude posted like a pullout thing.
Gotta be.
He's not gonna be fighting in Denver. Oh, and I don't know who. I didn't recognize his name, to be honest, but he might have been fighting.
No, it's the women. I forgot.
Fatima.
Yeah, Fatima.
Fatima.
Yeah, Fatima Klein.
No, it wasn't her then. No, it wasn't. It wasn't girls.
Okay, no, I think that this fight is still on.
Has new opponent? No, that's her, right? Wait.
Yeah, this is. I mean, if this is right now, or this is what's today, the 8th? Oh, that's only a couple of days ago though. Oh, yeah, man, I don't know.
Arujo is who they got on ESPN. I guess.
Yeah, I know. That's
weird.
Yeah, because it was Klein. It
I
was
did know because I saw that on DraftKings. I saw Fatima and Klein.
well. Then this throws everything into a goddamn loop. I don't know. I mean, well, let me just look up Viviani.
Go to DraftKings real quick. I bet they got.
Oh no, okay, so yeah, okay, so Viviani Araujo is out of her fight. Okay, it is Jasovicius versus Klein. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
she's the one that
Yep.
pulled
That's
out.
what.
Yeah, all
You're
right,
right.
okay,
You're not crazy.
whew, that threw me for a loop there. All right, so well then I guess we can't pull up too much about Klein. They don't have her anywhere yet, but Jasovicius versus Klein. Now this is a very interesting one. I'm glad that Klein is still in this fight because I am really looking forward to seeing her debut. So she is 6-0. She is a former, I believe she was an Invicta champion. I don't know if she actually was a champ or not. She's coming off of some really nice wins in Invicta. I saw one of her Invicta fights where she steamrolled her opponent pretty much. It was a complete one-sided affair. Ended up getting a TKO in the third after 2 rounds of just smothering her to death. So Klein is definitely she's a someone who has potential, and this would be a huge statement coming into the organization, getting a win over Jasovicius, who just eviscerated the dirty fighter Priscilla Cosueda in her last fight, put her through absolute torture before submitting her.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, yeah, I'm excited for Jasmine because she is coming in as the dog now, which is interesting. You said it was Fatima's debut.
It debuted in the UFC, yes.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy coming in at the favorite. I mean, maybe we see that often, but you know how that goes, man. The UFC is just built different sometimes. Like, and Jasmine, say what you want. She was one of what, 2 Canadians to win on their card. So, hey, shout out to her.
Oh yeah, no. So the chatter in the community, which I did not agree with in the slightest, they were saying that Jasovicius is striking is not great.
I've heard best prospect in women's MMA thrown on Twitter. That was pretty crazy.
There you go. I mean, so all over the board on this. I mean, she made Cosueda look foolish, and I was loving every minute of it because Cosueda is a complete dirtbag and deserves.
She's not very good either way.
Yeah, exactly. She's not a great fighter, and she is a dirty fighter on top of it. So fuck her. But so it was very nice to see what she did there. Now, I mean, higher level competition is going to be higher level competition. So, I mean, it's really going to be a matter of if Klein's coming in on short notice. I mean, she, I believe that she had some weight. No. Different fighter. Strike that from the record. So, Klein coming in on short notice, I guess, is the big factor here. Klein trains with Aaron Blanchfield. Factor that in how you'd like to. I mean, the wrestling is on point. The striking is decent. The cardio seems to be there. I think this is a really good scrap. And her coming in as the favorite is kind of wild. But I mean,
yeah, on short notice. Why is she like in Denver? What the hell is she supposed to just mop her? Like, what the fuck? Like,
I mean, I think that that their thought process, at least, is that she's going to go in there and be able to just take her down and keep her down. Which is pretty much what I saw out of her. She one thing that I saw in Klein. Now I only did watch the one fight, so I'm basing it, on limited information. But the one thing that I noticed is that she finds the takedowns in really like she times them and finds them in angles that are like very effective. Like she, there was one takedown that she got where it was like almost at a side angle. She kind of had to wrap around and got a double leg off of it. I was like, wow, she kind of like swung her body into the takedown and secured it. I was like, that is insanely impressive. It could have been a fluke. Could have been, an opponent that wasn't as on point. But just the level of acumen there with the wrestling was showing. She almost secured a nice armbar in that fight that I saw. I mean, she didn't get it, but she was setting it up. She's doing everything correct. I talk about the small motions of wrestling, right? It's the chain of events that's all very small sequences that equal up to securing what you want. She seems to have at least a decent time, like a chain of events that she can create when it comes to the wrestling.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I love women's MMA. I don't know why I get such a bad rep. I think this will be a good matchup, just like the first one. I think they'll both be probably, I'm not going to argue better fights of the night, but they're going to be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you know, as we've said, she's coming in on short notice, making her debut. This would be a very, very big statement to get a win over Jazz Tavicius, who's been around for a while, 10-3, still a great record. I mean, you know, she's got all the potential in the world as well. So, you know, if Klein can come in and get this done, it would be, you know, you got a really interesting new prospect at flyweight.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well. After all that confusion, let's go to a fight that we know is secure, at least as of right now. Don't want to jinx it, but Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Cody Brundage. Cody coming in off of a very, very terrible mopping by Bo Nickel. I think you have to throw that one out the window. Al Hassan, 12-6. Also, you know, this is kind of one of those ones that's a little bit of a shaky territory on both sides. What do you think?
Well, I just looked at Abdul's record, and he got subbed by Joe Pyfer.
He did.
Um,
Subbed by
that's
Joe
no,
Pyfer.
yeah, that's a good thing to note there. You didn't get knocked out by Joe Pyfer, you got subbed by him. Cody
Yeah.
Brundage, he seems to be able to handle people who like want to strike with him. So if that's what Abdul wants to do, he is a striker actually. Cody will probably just wrestle him, take him down, and I think Cody will probably sub him. Like he has some losses, but like you can tell Cody Brundage isn't a bad fighter. Like he know he's competent. Like he's no Ben Askren.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, well, let's back up for a second there. Ben Askren gets a bad rep because of his run in the UFC. Ben Askren was a one championship champion, my man. Put some respect on his name.
I feel you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I might be the only person on the planet who will ever defend Ben Askren in any respect, but I digress.
And one other thing to note is that he has finished. You know, Cody Brundage did knock out Zachary Reese, and we just saw him come out and blaze somebody in 30 seconds or whatever.
That was that slam. That was that side of the head slam knockout.
Oh, that is right. Okay, so there wasn't a striking one. Okay, that is right. But it was Cody. I think Cody will wrestle his way, and he's the dog too. I mean, I don't know what Vegas is thinking on these ones, guys. Like, what since when did the wrestlers who are going to lay and pray not have the favorite? Like, that's so crazy to me right now.
I mean, I think that they're going off of Al Hassan's power. I mean, because he does have decent hands, but he's been spotty in a lot of his fights as well. I mean, you know, there's the story is not great on both sides. I mean, so Cody Brundage has the disqualification win over Jacob Malkoun. Take the easy way out. I guess some people would say, look, you got elbowed in the back of the fucking head. I can't be too mad at that. Take the win, whatever. It's just one of those weird things that's on your record now forever. He has the loss over Bo Nickel. You got to put that out the window. Bo Nickel is a different beast. Cody Brundage was a sacrificial lamb in that fight. It is what it is. The narrative is just kind of rocky for both of them. You know what I mean? It's just sort of shaky territory on both sides of the equation. I think it's going to be a good fight for that reason. I think this is actually a better suited matchup between these two guys than either of them have had in their last couple at least. So maybe Malkoun might have been an okay matchup for him had the elbow not been in play or whatever. But still, point is that I think that this is a much more even fight than either of them have been in their last one. So I kind of have this as a little bit of a coin flip personally. I think that Al Hassan has the power to strike. I think Cody is pretty durable though. So if he does take a couple of shots, I don't think it's going to put him out necessarily. I guess it just depends on how much power he's putting on him. Again, they're fighting at middleweight. Elevation's going to play a part here too as it goes on. It's like you're saying. I think that wrestle fucking is going to be pretty prevalent on this card in these later rounds if they go there. So. I personally have this as a little bit of a coin flip, as I said. I think that leaning on Cody to get it done, probably by decision or maybe late in the fight is safe.
Yeah, and again, the odds are not favorable by much. Like, so it's not like they think he's gonna starch him. They just think, okay, he might knock him out, but like Cody Brundage, we know can wrestle. Like he's an elite maybe elite is a stretch, but he's a good wrestler and he can finish people once he gets a hold of you. I mean, uh, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that he's gotten it's what I was saying about like the tail of his last couple of fights. I think he kind of gets put in this weird. Whenever you have all of that weirdness, that's what I was saying about the DQ. It's on your record now, and it just becomes part of your narrative. All of these fights that you have are part of your greater storyline. So you have this weird DQ in there that sort of just becomes part of the story. Like I don't think that it tells the tale of who he is as a fighter necessarily. So come out and show out. I mean, it's like, you know, what we say about all these fights, really. Show one way or the other. I mean, if Al Hassan has that knockout power, go get that knockout. If Cody's going to, you know, use the wrestling, go use that wrestling. Get a knockout yourself, motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's MMA.
Yeah.
Let's do it, you know?
Yeah, Cody's bigger too, you know, I mean, it's not by much, but like I think, you know, the size and the frame, it's perfect for wrestle fucking at this point.
For sure.
Um,
And again, the elevation's going to play, you know, a big factor in all of this. Keep that in mind for all of these fights.
and yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna say to realize, made a great point. 38 is pretty fucking old.
that is true. That is true.
So
Absolutely. I mean, you know, as they say, the power is usually the last thing to go. I think that you're going to see a little bit of the speed degradation there. You know, as the age continues to advance, that
and
could real.
cardio.
And exactly, and the elevation, as we've said a million times now, that you got to keep that in mind for all these fights. So yeah, I mean, you know, Cody can get the better of this. It would be a really nice way to rewrite the wrongs of the past. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't like the narrative. Change the narrative.
Yeah, for sure.
So realize. Love that name, by the way. All right. Moving on to Julian Juicy J Erosa versus Rodriguez here. Is that Christian Rodriguez?
Yes, it is.
It is. All right. Christian Rodriguez is the man who derailed 2 hype trains, not 1, but 2.
3.
Who's the third?
This I think his last name. Hold on. Dolgarian. This dude was really fucking good too.
Oh,
He robbed
yes.
him. He robbed
Yes.
him so bad.
Yes,
I
you
mean,
are
you know,
correct.
for 6-0, like he was a really fucking good grappler, and the
Yeah.
fact that they didn't fucking give him the win is pretty fucking nuts. But I
Yeah,
digress.
yeah. Well, the other 2 that are also quite notable are Raul Rosas Jr.'s first loss and Cameron Simon, the dude from South Africa, training partner of Dricus du Plessis. Christian Rodriguez, you know, derailed both of those hype trains pretty decently, at least those 2. You're saying that third one's a robbery, you know, let that lie where it'll lie. But so, I mean, you know, the abilities are there. Juicy J, this guy, he's starting to become a bit of a problem in the sense that I saw a crazy stat on this one. He has been knocked out 7 times, my dude. 7 times. That is unacceptable, brother.
Yeah, I think. Well, one, if I want to give him some props, I don't think he'll get knocked out this fight. I mean, Christian Rodriguez is grapple heavy. He's gonna try to submit you, and if Julian, this is another veteran time that I think will show. Christian Rodriguez coming in hot. I've derailed 3 hype trains. I'm the man. But it's Denver. We've talked about it. He's going to gas himself with all this wrestling and trying to be a very grappling heavy, you know, style. And it's just not going to last throughout the fight. I see him going into the second round and being very, like, getting humbled a little bit. Like, I need to fucking not take it like a joke. Like, I don't know if he's even that person to, like, kind of, you know, joke is, take it lightly is maybe the better thing.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I think that this is going to be very wrestle heavy. Erosa is really nice with his wrestling as well. So if it is wrestle heavy, it could be a pretty good display of some back and forth exchanges in that regard. This might be one of those ones where they're flip flopping all over the place, reversing each other. That could be pretty cool. It really just depends on how quick how quick and who gets the takedowns. You know, I think that that's going to be a big determining factor. Who starts off in the dominant position, who ends in the dominant position. It really is a little bit of an issue when it comes to the amount of energy you expend on the ground. because like you said, if they're both going to be wrestle heavy, then they're going to be two tired motherfuckers coming out of the definitely out of the first. After that second round, it's going to be all bets are off. But that does lend itself to Erosa having a little bit of an edge. Like you said, he's a more experienced fighter. He's been around for so long. This dude is this is over 30 fights now, 40 fights. Yeah, Jesus Christ, 29-12. This man has been around for quite a while. So, the experience is absolutely there. He is nice with his grappling. Go out there and derail the derailer.
Yeah, for sure. And minus 220, they're pretty confident that Christian Rodriguez is gonna wrestle his way. But I think this is another moment where I think Vegas is just gonna get humble, or they're gonna humble a lot of. I think they're setting people up for failure right now. I think that's what's happening. Early on, they set you up for failure, and then when the weigh-ins happen, then they get realistic. But minus 220 for a guy who's gonna wrestle in elevation and hasn't faced a real veteran yet, I think it's perfect.
Absolutely. I agree. I like this fight, actually. See what happens.
And and I like Christian Rodriguez. I do think he should win. I mean, he's got the talent. Like I said, he might have robbed Bulgarian, but he unanimous decision against Simon and Raul. I mean, so split against one guy that I say is not really that big of a crazy. Will Rod make weight? Is that a thing that he normally?
Yeah, I was going to say
that. If that is true, probably he's gonna have a tough cut if that's what the case has been in the past. But
I mean, yeah, well, I mean, and they're fighting at featherweight. Hopefully, that's not something that's going to be super hard for either of them. But
bro's 5'7". Like, where are you gonna go? Like, you want to fight at fucking 55? Like, Jesus.
Yeah. So hopefully that would be the game plan. But he makes a good point. I mean, this is why what we were just saying earlier in the stream. Keep your eyes on these fights all the way up until they are in the cage, because the information that comes out after the weigh-ins, even at the fucking press conferences and the interviews and stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of information that you can be gleaning from every little element before the fights. I would recommend joining the Discord if you're not already a member. Maybe Chase can throw that in the chat, or I don't know. I don't have the link on me at the moment, but
yeah, I can get that.
My man. But yeah, the point being is that, we keep on top of these things pretty up to the minute as far as, when it comes down to who's making weight, any other information that comes out, generally try to stay on top of it. So keep an eye out for, for all of the information as it becomes available to make the most informed choices when it comes to your bets.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. Yeah, you always got to be safe with your bets, man. That's why I always wait till the last minute, because you place a bet on somebody and then they come in and look like shit when they weigh in. No, I'm not falling for it.
I'm telling you, and like I said, I might have been a little hyperbolic saying that you can tell a lot by the walkout, but I don't really think that I'm being that hyperbolic. I mean, like, I think that sometimes you can just see it. You get that feeling when occasionally with fighters where it's like you can just tell something from the walkout. You know what I mean? It's just there's all of the information leading up to it, and then the walkout on top of it. Like, there's information being downloaded at every second until that door is closed on the cage. So.
100%.
Right on. All right. So moving on. This is a fight I am looking forward to immensely. This is Gabriel Bonfim versus Ange Losa. Now, I did an entire video on this channel about Mr. Ange Losa. Well, it was more about Brian Battle, but Ange Losa was a star player in that video because Ange Losa is the man that essentially took the easy way out on a no contest via eye poke in the Brian Battle fight when things were getting a little bit too hot and heavy for him. That, to me, shows a great lack of heart when the cards are being stacked against you, because Brian was having the better of all of those exchanges up until that point. Losa was not able to get his foot on the gas, and when the eye poke happened, it was, I mean, look, I'm not in his body. I can't say exactly how it affects that person, but watch the video. You'll see my full breakdown on it. But either way, it was not a good look. And he's going up against Gabriel Bonfim, who, aside from Nicholas Dalby, who was able to overcome that storm, has been a surging prospect himself. So,
yeah, what I would like to say is, Anj, he kind of gives me the vibe of a dude who's just like, he's just a strong, athletic guy, and he's kind of just out of his element. Like, he's not really here for a fight. When it gets tough, like you said, bro is ready to get the fuck up out of there. And I think this is a good fight to throw him back into, because from what I'm seeing, is Gabriel a wrestler?
Oh yeah.
Kind of deal. Yeah, so this will be perfect for him. Anj will just be so uncomfortable just getting Russell fucked. He probably will get subbed really quick. Like, the sub advantage is pretty fucking high. So, or sub average. I don't know why. Sub average is pretty fucking high. So I think Vegas got this one pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, and by the way, Realize is saying that Rodriguez missed weight with Rosas and Simon. So that is, yeah, I did not realize that. Thank you for that information. Guess that does play a part there in the Rodriguez versus Rosa fight. But back to the Bonfim fight here. Yeah, I mean, I think that the one thing to note is that Losa has never been finished in the UFC. So, take that into consideration. However, he can certainly get taken down. I mean, Brian was able to control him decently when he wanted to. At range, he was doing what he wanted to do. He is he's a dude, I would say, that does not dictate the pace of a fight. You know what I mean? Like, he seems very reactionary, and that is not the way to when you're getting into the higher levels of this sport, like, you have to lead the dance. Like, you can't be just I mean, counter, of course, obviously, and you can pick your shots and all that kind of stuff, obviously. However, you don't want to be the dude that's constantly on the back foot. You don't want to be the dude that's constantly having to try to figure out what the next thing is when your opponent has a clear and decisive game plan, which I think that Bonfim is going to have. So, I think that as long as Bonfim can keep the wrestling up, I think this seems like it's going to be a pretty wrestle-heavy card in general, maybe with the exception of this next fight we're going to talk about. But either way, if Bonfim can keep the control, can stay in the driver's seat, I don't see any reason that he doesn't walk away with this fight.
Yeah, this is kind of now that I'm seeing actually how many I believe are going to be wrestle heavy. I mean, because we do have just a lot of fucking wrestlers. Why did they put all these people in Denver? Oh God, I can feel it's just going to be a slow slouch of a night. Like, we're just going to be watching people diving for legs because they're just out of breath. We're going to hear the coaches all night. Come on, catch your breath. Get some water. Drink some water. Like, it's going to be all night. It's going to be all night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, let's at least assume that that in this current crop of talent, that the cardio has has risen to that occasion. That hopefully some of these guys have been out there for a while. That's always helpful. To just be in the area, doing your training and stuff out there, or at least just doing some of your camp workouts and stuff like that. At least in a portion out there. We'll see what ends up happening with that. But there does seem to be a lot of wrestling potential here, and the elevation is definitely going to play a big factor there. But I mean, just final note on this, as I mentioned when we started this fight, Anj Losa, I want you to lose, bro. I'm sorry, I cannot abide what you did to Brian Battle. And it's not even, look, I got accused of being on Brian's dick. It's not even about that. You could have done that to anybody. You could have done that to John Jones, and you know how I feel about him. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. Obviously that wouldn't have happened, but you know what I'm saying? A fighter that I completely dislike could have done that to anybody. You're the problem. So, yeah.
And for most people, when I say, when they're coming in as the dog, I'm pretty confident that they should come out and show the world why they're better than what we thought. And I just don't see it possible for this dude. He's just a loser. Like, I don't know. Like, he's just got that loser mentality. Like, he didn't want to finish the fight because he knew he was going to lose in decision or get finished. I mean, and this is going to be another example. He probably has a less chance of getting finished because, like you said, he's never been finished, and it's wrestling, and maybe he won't get subbed. Maybe he's got some good sub defense, but bro's just a loser. I don't really care. I won't even give him the idea of thinking that he could win this one. Fuck him.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, that's just is what it is, man. And you made that. You know what I'm saying? That's the last thing I'll say about it. You made it that way. I then going into that last fight, I had no preconceived notion one way or the other. I just wanted to see a good fight. You made it this way, buddy. So you're in that hole, and you got to dig yourself out of it.
Like what you said with Cody, it's on your record. Like the people who watch will remember you for cowering out. Like
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, moving on. I love this fight. This is a fight that came together somewhat last minute after it was Mike
Mike Davis.
Mike Davis. Yes, thank you. Hometown hero Mike Davis for me over here. I'm very upset that he's not in this fight, unfortunately. But the replacement, how about it? Gene Silva versus Drew Dober. This is a fight that has some banger potential as far as the striking goes.
And I will agree. I think the odds are pretty good on this one. A coin flip is pretty solid.
Absolutely.
I will say, I saw a tweet and it was very funny, so I'm going to bring it up. Is that Jean Silva missed weight, right, at 45.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, he goes to lightweight. And I respect that. You can't make it, bro. Just give it up. Just go up the weight class. And he's got a pair of balls on him for that. Drew Dober's not a slouch, man. It's a scary dude to go up to sometimes. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see that the -110 is a little press, like whatever the fucking word is. But Drew might come out here and show Jean Silva like some action. And I really like Jean Silva. Fighting nerds are really good, so it's tough to watch.
Yeah, no, I mean this coin flip is very appropriate for this one. Dober, like you said, no slouch whatsoever. Was knocked out not too long ago. That unfortunately is the case. I believe that was his first time being knocked out, which is crazy considering that he is 27-13. But that being said, the one thing that I will note in this fight is that John Silva is versatile. He, like you said, fighting nerds, those guys, they just, I don't know if it's just the way that they train or if it's just they're all built that way to have this ridiculous bag of tricks that they want to pull from. But him and Hoofy are just two of these dudes that are pulling out all kinds of crazy shit when it comes to the variety of striking that they're doing, just the movement, everything that they put into their fights is very well rounded, and it's unpredictable. That I think is going to be a big test for Dober because he might not be as he might not see as much coming, so there's probably going to be some stuff that Silva's going to be throwing at him that might catch him a little bit off guard. If he can weather that, though, really, I mean, this has potential for it to be two dudes standing and banging, and just whoever drops the other one first, and that's the kind of fight you want to see. So,
that's exactly where I was gonna go with it. The reason that I think this is a coin flip is because these dudes are gonna just stand and trade. Like it really is like whoever just lands the money shot, or we're gonna see a war until the bell, and then the third round might be a little sloppy, but it'll still be a good brawl that we would like to see. I would like to believe.
Yeah, I lean slightly towards Silva only because of the versatility that I was mentioning. I think that he moves really nicely. He's constantly, just off center. He's really like almost a little bit jittery, but not in like a nervous way, and like a almost calculated, frenetic pace that I think might be a little bit overwhelming to Dober early. I think that if Dober can weather all of that, then there's some potential to make this one a really crazy banger. So we'll see. I mean, this dude Silva is I think he kind of like tries to make himself sort of scary. You know what I mean? Like he's got that
right.
Like, takes him an hour and a half to get to the cage kind of thing, and he's walking.
He
out
didn't
with
do that
like,
last fight though. I'll give him that. He didn't
fair.
do any of the shenanigans last fight.
Yeah, good scrap indeed. Yeah, it's true. I mean, so I don't know if that's all, kind of him just sort of playing himself up a little bit.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, the record is speaking for itself so far, and Drew Dober is a great test, and that would be a really, really nice win on his record if he can get it. These fighting nerds, man. I mean, it's the camp to look for whenever these guys are fighting. I think the only one they're saying is not been super successful is I didn't realize that Bruna Brazil is also a fighting nerd. I did not know that she was part of that team, but the three male fighters on that team that are showing out. I mean, what can they not do?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Yep. So that's the one to look out for. That would be the one that I thought should have been the co-main. I have no idea why this really kind of
This is
shitty
bad.
fight. Yeah, this fight is not great as the co-main event. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Muslim Salikov. I mean, this is a battle of the geriatrics over here. I mean, Santiago Ponzinibbio was a beast in his time. His time is past, bro. I mean, like he's been looking sloppy in some of his last fights. And Muslim Salikov, I mean, they're saying that this dude is 40 years old. I've heard, anywhere between 65 and 80 being floated around in some of the
Yeah.
discussion groups. So I don't know. I mean, like, what do you think?
Well, one, Santiago has a crazy record, and he is, minus 200. He is the heavy favorite here. Oh, he lost to Kevin Holland. Okay, he got knocked out by Kevin Holland. Damn, that was a while ago though. April of 23. You know, Argentinians, man. I think he's gonna be good. The fucking Salikov dude. Have I even seen him fight? Let me see who he fought last. Randy Brown and got knocked out on February 3rd. Okay. Okay, he's coming off a knockout too. Not actually that long ago.
Yeah. No,
Oh yeah,
he's been spotty.
Santiago's got this.
Yeah, I would say that Ponzinibbio has this in the bag. I'd say that this is probably one of the tighter locks for this card. It's probably going to be a striking affair. That being said, at least has the potential to be somewhat boring. I just really think that both these guys have slowed down. I mean, like I said, Ponzinibbio back in the day, like, I mean, he really was like one of those dudes to watch out for. He had some stretches of time where he was inactive. I don't know if he was injured or, just took some time off from the sport or whatever his reasoning was. But, his like prime is well past him at 37. I think he can get this done still. Just try to make it entertaining, guys, please, because I have no
Yeah.
idea why this is the co-main event. This could have been a prelim fight, to be perfectly
Out
honest.
of all the people that we have on this card that I
Right?
know that
Yeah,
I'm like interested in watching, it's like why?
yeah. It makes no sense to me, but maybe the UFC knows something that we don't. Maybe Solikov's going to come out looking, 10 years younger. What do I know?
Like, I
But
mean,
yeah.
it just makes you think like, these two old guys are really coming out here as the co-main event when you have up and coming stars, like, Josh Van. Maybe that's a leap, be co-main event, but you still have Drew Dober, Sean Silva, and then fucking Christian Rodriguez. Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Cody Burnett was just on 300. You guys better put some respect. Like, what the fuck?
For real. Yeah, you make a good point. Yeah, I don't get it. Like I said, I just hope at least it's somewhat entertaining because I do believe that this has the potential to be kind of boring. If they again at elevation, older guys, if they're going out there trying to stand and bang early, then maybe there could be some fireworks early. But if this gets anywhere into the later part of the second round, that third round is going to be fucking slow.
Yeah, for sure. This is probably people turn the shit off at this point. I bet this fight right
Yeah.
here is when they turn it off.
Yeah. Well, people talk about bathroom break fights. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily that, but stick around for the main event because we've got former champion Rose Namajunas versus Tracy Cortez. I know that you are very high on Miss Cortez, my friend. I push back on this. I think that she is getting pretty privileged. Go ahead and say your piece on this.
I do believe that she's, not the caliber of person that should be fighting Rose, but I will also argue that Rose is fucking washed. Like, yo, she's mid as shit now. Like, what the hell? She lost to Manon Fior. Like, and all Manon did was fucking stuff her takedowns and just piece her up with the jab. If Tracy Cortez can get a hold of her, maybe we'll see some interesting grappling. But bro, Tracy Cortez, she can wrestle. Like, I mean, that's what she does. And I appreciate you realize you are the man. And
Yeah, thank you, brother.
I I don't know, is Rose a better grappler? Probably once in her time, but like, bro, Tracy, she's no like same thing with Eileen. Like people want to joke, but like, bro, they have good wrestling and top control. They can just hold you down. Like, listen, they got big frames for the size. Like they can just hold you down. Rose is a very skinny girl compared to Tracy. So I
That
I
is
think it'll
true.
be very interesting.
Yeah, no, you make fair points. The the reason that I'm fucking with what you're saying, on top of all of the accuracy, is also that Rose is unpredictable. Rose, to be perfectly honest, and this is going to sound very harsh, but I'll say it as straight as I can here. Both of these women are mentally weak. Tracy pulls out of fights because her boyfriend breaks up with her. Rose is all kinds of, she's got all kinds of stuff going on in her head. I mean, it's been well documented that she's uneasy, in the mental department. Rose comes out sometimes looking like $1,000,000. She comes out other times fighting scared as fuck. She's extremely unpredictable. I put her in that same camp as Anthony Smith and Angela Hill. And that's really saying something about a former champ. You know what I mean? Like you'd think that with that level of pedigree that that she'd have a little bit more consistency, but I just don't see it from her. Like now in the Furo fight, she did break her finger. So now how you factor that in, fair enough. If it's fuck all that, she still got pieced up with the jab and everything, like you said. I mean, full camp Rose, 5-round fight as well. You got to take that into consideration. This is a 5-rounder on short notice for Cortez. She was training for Miranda Maverick, so it's not like she's coming in completely off the couch or anything like that. It's just a weird one in that regard. I mean, like, I think that you're right that Tracy she's thicker. She's she's
oh, she is.
Yeah,
oh,
well,
she is.
that is definitely true. She's got more body mass in general, and all the right places, whatever. But I digress. She definitely has the ability to use her body weight effectively. It's a matter of if Rose is going to let her do it. I mean, I would be worried that Rose can use her kicks pretty effectively at range. If she can't stay at range, if Tracy goes in wild, she might get caught with something. Those would be my concerns.
That was my next point. Is when you watch Tracy Cortez fight, she is never a very technical striker. She just goes in and tries to make it dirty, which is good. I think that can be good in situations, but if Rose is able to use, her distance well, and obviously keep her on the outside, Tracy might look pretty bad. She might be shooting from way out there and might be getting pieced up. But Tracy knows how to make it dirty, man. You pull her hair and she's ready to go. She's ready to throw down, and it's just how it goes. I don't know. It's very exciting for this matchup. I will be going for Tracy. Shout out Mexico on this one. Like they're just gonna win. I don't know how to explain it.
Fair enough. I mean, okay, one thing that I do want to ask you, though, do you think that Tracy Cortez's false eyelashes are going to be a detriment or a benefit to her?
Dude, it is so crazy to me. Like, I'll actually maybe even answer your question. But, like, dude, when you go on Google and you look up Tracy Cortez, all of her UFC photos, you cannot see her fucking, like, bro, her face is just like, especially when she gets punched and her shit starts like swelling up, bro, her eyes are a fucking mess. Like, oh my goodness, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, those permanent falsies are a little bit much. But, yeah, interesting fight, though. I mean, I think that it has the potential to be very wrestle heavy and not necessarily in a good way. Hopefully one of them can make it, more interesting than that prediction. But yeah, we'll see where the striking is. That's what I really want to see out of Rose. What I would like to see out of Rose in general is coming out and fighting with intention. I want to see her coming out with confidence that, says, I am still a champion. She does her little affirmation things. I'm the champ, all that shit that she does. Like, go out there and do that. Like, be that person. But it's like she's too spotty for me to ever put money on. I mean, she's a super heavy favorite in this fight. I gotta believe that there's some accuracy to that, but I mean, Cortez definitely has the potential to pull it off if Rose is not there. So, and as I touched on the mental stuff, Cortez's mental stuff is definitely in the past. I mean, I kind of go back to that, mostly because it pissed me off because I was supposed to see one of her fights live, and I was denied that. She was supposed to fight my manic pixie dream girl. She was supposed to fight Amanda Hebos. I was denied that fight, but like I said, all that's in the past. So fair enough. Maybe that's not necessarily a factor now. There's just a lot of factors that are going into this fight that make it a little bit of a shaky ground for me to throw any kind of heavy money either way.
Yeah, 100%. I don't even know what to close this one on. I'm just really hoping Tracy gets this one. She's, my girl's got to get a dub right here. Like this would be so good for your resume. You beat Rose Namajunas on a fight night, 5 rounder. Like you're up there for some talks for a shot at some point. So get this one done, understand the opportunity, and cry after you do it. I know that's what you want to do. So get it over with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a win over Rose would be spectacular for her. I mean, that would open up so many kind of doors for her as far as opportunities go. Yeah, it would be nice. I mean, why not? Like you said, Viva Mexico over here. I mean, it'd be a very good win for her to have. And Rose is arguably on the tail end, of her career. I would say. I mean, she's only 32. It's not like she has to be, but I mean, I've had a long history of watching Rose's fights, and it hasn't been pleasant. You know what I mean? Like, just to be perfectly honest, I sat through Rose versus Carla Esparza 2. I never want to redo that. I never want to relive that experience.
Right. Yep.
So, go get a heavy win. Go make a serious statement over Rose and, shuffle her out the door. I mean, it's not impossible.
Yeah. And maybe I'll make one last point just because I think I want to go back to it. I think we do often underestimate the frames that people have, especially when they're wrestling heavy. Like you know how to maneuver your body weight in ways that people don't often see, or they just can't, overcome. I mean, it works. It wears down on you.
Absolutely, yeah, no, absolutely. If Tracy can secure the takedowns, is really going to be the big deciding factor here. I think that Rose's kicks are still really nice. I keep going back to that because I don't really think that her striking, with her punches are all that great. I mean, they're not terrible, but they're almost average, I would say. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit overly critical on that, but either way, I mean, we're not talking about a world ender in Rose Namajunas when it comes to the hands. It's really a matter of how Tracy is able to get those takedowns, if she can secure them, as long as she's not careless, because I think that she can get caught if she gets reckless. But other than that, I mean, that really just get her down and keep her down.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so that is UFC Fight Night, Namajunas versus Cortez, UFC Denver. Keep in mind elevation for all of these fights. So I guess that is one other factor in the main event. Rose does train in Colorado, so.
Ooh, okay. So that's a good look for her.
Yeah,
And a
five
good no
rounder.
for her, I guess.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a quick look at next week. I think I can get it through here. Let's see here. Yeah, so next week, or this following fight night is Lemos versus Jandiroba. How the fuck did this become a main event?
Yeah, no idea who the fuck is going to see this. Who's gonna have the? Who's gonna have the TV on at this point? Seriously, I'm gonna watch it, of course,
I would
but
say it's us.
I'm gonna hate myself because I know, one, I'm not gonna enjoy looking at them, sadly, and two, it just ain't gonna be that good of a fucking fight. Like, I mean,
okay. Okay. Taking a step back, it does have potential to be a decent fight. Lemos' striking is pretty good. Jandiroba's wrestling is pretty good. I mean, so there's a style clash there. I mean, if Lemos can come out and really show out with her striking and keep Jandiroba off her legs, I mean, there is potential for that to be somewhat entertaining. But I mean, Lemos, I believe, was Amanda Nunes' last fight, if I'm not mistaken, right? I'm fairly certain that was her last one, and she just pieced her up like nobody's business. It was either her or Zhang Weilei. Either one, whatever the case may be, she's been pieced up before. So I don't know, man. I can't believe that this is a main event for any event. It's just very surprising, but this card has also had a couple of kind of weirdnesses going on here and there. There are a couple of decent fighters on this card, a couple of decent fights.
yeah, I got a few that I want to talk about.
Sure. I mean, we can kind of run it down just very briefly. Brad Tavares fighting. That's it's nice to see
Um,
him doing his thing.
Fighting the Iron Turtle.
Yeah, June Park. Definitely some potential for a good one here. Park is a dude who somehow like gets the job done when no one in the world expects him to do it. So uh, he's either
Holy
you're
shit! Yeah, he has got a lot of subs. That's kind of funny.
I'm telling you, man. Like he's one of those dudes. He's kind of he's not really imposing looking. So it's like you don't necessarily think that he's going to be able to do like all of what he does, but like somehow he gets the job done. And Brad Tavares has been a little bit spotty. I mean, 20-10, dude. That's starting to creep up on you.
Yeah, for sure. And the next one down, Shepe, I forget who it was. He did get a new opponent. Somebody stepped up to fight him.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, it was Damon Jackson,
Ooh, well, all right. I like that fight.
the Leech.
Yeah. Damon Jackson, he's one of those dudes that it really lays it all on the line. I mean, he's
I I've only seen him in his last fight, and I was hating on him because he looks like Mac from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And but no, like he's like actually one of those people that you watch and like you see that he's out there grinding, man. He does want to win, and like in his post fight interview, like bro, he's a real dude. Like I fuck with it. Like
Oh
I have no
yeah.
problem with him.
Yeah, no, he's a good dude. I like Jackson though. I mean Chepe though. I mean this guy is he's been knocking motherfuckers out for real lately. And I mean Jackson, I believe I think he got knocked out in
He
his
got
last
knocked
fight.
out by Ilya.
Eesh, yeah. Well, so it's like if you're gonna get knocked out by the best, I guess. But Chepe not not necessarily super far behind as far as the striking ability or power goes. I mean, maybe not exactly at the level, but still, I mean, it's, we're not talking miles apart at least. Yeah, this dude it's a good fight. I like that.
Yeah. I also want to make a note that we have 3 Koreans on the card. The Korean parlay is
Ah,
probably looking pretty good here, but that's just another thing to note.
fair.
Um, One other or a couple more people. Muhammad Usman coming off a robbery to fucking Mick Parkin, so they can keep him undefeated to throw him on the UK card.
That is
He's gonna get this one
bullshit.
done. The Thomas Peterson dude. Let me go make sure this picture of him. Yeah, this dude look. No, he's ass. He's shit. Muhammad Usman should get this one done. Probably fucking finish this fucking slob.
I mean, Muhammad Usman needs to start finishing. Period. I mean, like
Yeah,
the dude's got the frame to do it. I mean, it's surprising to me that he doesn't get more finishes. He also he can be a little chinny himself, though. I mean, like there are some elements to his game that need some shoring up, and the chin is one that's a little bit hard to do, especially at heavyweight. I mean, you're fighting some heavy hitters, but yeah, I mean, Muhammad Usman needs to start putting together some decent wins here to get himself on a streak. That last one was a sad robbery for sure, though.
yeah. Let's see. In the next, we should probably talk about. Well, we should probably say Miranda Maverick. I mean, she is kind of popular. I didn't know she was 5'3". Holy shit, she's fucking short.
Yeah, she's tiny.
Let's see.
Versus
Yeah,
was that Diani Barbosa?
Dia. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe she's coming off that win over the
Oh,
Panamanian.
Ernesta,
Yes, yeah. So, I mean, decent fight. I would still.
Lithuania.
Oh, or over Nesta. Okay, my bad. I'm thinking of a different fighter then. Yeah, I mean, I would still lean towards Maverick on this one. I mean, experience alone, I would say, could take that. I mean, Barbosa's wrestling, I believe, is pretty decent though.
I mean, I'm not actually too sure. I mean, looking at just the facts of it, I mean, Miranda Maverick was supposed to fight Tracy Cortez. Tracy Cortez is now fighting Rose Namajunas. Somewhere on the line, it equates to a better fighter than the prelims of the fucking fight night on the week after, where you potentially could have been fighting Rose. I mean, who knows?
For sure. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, well, all right, fair enough. I guess we'll wait to see on how that all plays out. We can do a little bit more research on that one. Um, Definitely another one to make note of here. Boom Boom Kelleher versus my man Cody Gibson. Cody, I love you, brother. You got to get this win, dude. You need it. These last couple of fights have not gone your way. It's your second run in the UFC. We want to see you succeed. I mean, this has to be it, man. I mean, like, because really, you're knocking on another cut if it doesn't go your way. Kelleher is the dude who, I mean, he's a tough guy, but he's gotten finished. I mean, like he's a guy who's it's not an insurmountable task to beat him, but you got to do it.
Yeah, I'm seeing Cody finish this one. Brian's coming off a knockout from Cody Garbrandt. I think Cody, he's a volume guy when it comes to striking. He'll strike up until the bell. I don't think it's out of the realm to see Cody win by knockout or decision.
And Cody's wrestling is something I always tout. I mean, that the body triangle that Cody's able to sink in is so amazing. I mean, like the ability to control his opponent when he has that locked in is second to none. So, I mean, really utilize all of your skills in this one. And I just hope the cardio is there. That's one thing that I was noticing a little bit in some of his previous or more recent fights, rather, is that it's just he does look like he's getting a little bit drained early in the fights. He puts a lot on the line. He's one of those dudes fights with a lot of heart. Sometimes you gotta stretch that a little bit. So maybe fight not conservatively, but fight with the intention of going 3 rounds.
Yeah, for sure.
With the power on top of that to try to get it finished earlier. But and also is Kelleher? Am I mistaken? Is Kelleher the dude that is that just had like some crazy back injury or something? I thought it was Kelleher that had like see if I can look that up real quick. I thought that Brian Kelleher had like some. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was that he like he was coming off of some kind of crazy like.
So one thing I will know while you look at this, his 3 losses, most recently for Brian Kelleher were Umar, Mario Batista, which I already said earlier, I don't think it's a bad loss, and then Cody Garbrandt. Now you were subbed 2 times and then knocked out by Cody Garbrandt. I think Cody Gibson can do either one of those to him, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah. So just to follow up on that, yeah, he had some like crazy neck surgery or some kind of injury. I don't know if it was sustained in the Garbrandt fight or if it was before that or it was sometime recently. He had some back surgery that put him out for a while. But good on him for getting back in there. I definitely think that Cody can get that job done. I really want to see it happen.
For sure. All right. And then, so next, I lied. There's 4 Koreans on the card because one is going up against my dude, Hyder Emil. This dude, I don't know if you know him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure.
He's a fucking dog. I can't tell you what he did in his first fight that I watched of him necessarily. Oh, he got a knockout. Okay. But I can tell you that I added him to the watch this list immediately after that fucking fight. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, I know, most definitely. Dude is he's been putting on some shows. Lee
Philippines is cool too.
Yeah, hell yeah, absolutely. And Lee is 11-1, so I mean, this is good record versus good record over here. Could he be the guy to take the O? I don't know too much about Lee necessarily. I'm not remembering him off the bat. See what his full profile says here. Oh, Ji-Young Lee. Yeah. Okay, the name rings a bell now. Win over Blake Builder. Decent. I guess we'll have to see. I mean, two decisions though. In his last
one,
2.
I think that's winning. Yeah, Road to the Show finale. Gotcha.
So, he's another Road to the UFC guy. Okay, fair enough.
Oh, Road to the UFC. I don't know why the fuck I think it's that MLB shit.
You follow way more sports than I do, man.
No, it's the fucking game mode. I don't watch baseball at all, and it's the fucking Road to the Show is just. I always just think of that shit. Road to the UFC. I got it.
There you go. Another Ultimate Fighter alumni over here in Kurt Hollabaugh going up against Krzyzewski. Kurt has been a little bit more successful, I believe, although I think he lost his last one.
Krzyzewski lost to Elvis Breener.
Yeah, and he lost to Trey Ogden. Hollabaugh did. So, yeah, both coming off of losses. I ride for my Ultimate Fighter guys. I'd love to see Kurt succeed. Hopefully he can get the job done there. And I guess the other one that I think should be mentioned is the goofball Bill Algeo coming off of a early stoppage in his last fight, where Algeo is he's a very entertaining fighter. He's a dude that um, he kind of looks like he's knocked out at every point in the fight. Like, you know what I mean?
Nice.
Like,
Yeah, I get you.
he's sort of like wobbly and very fluid. He almost has like a drunken master kind of style to him a little bit, but the motherfucker can pull shit off. So I mean,
Yeah.
it was unfortunate that fight got stopped early, because I do believe it was a legitimately early stoppage in that fight. But he's going up against Do Hoi Choi, who is an OG. This dude has been around for
Coming
a
off
minute.
3 L's and a draw, though. Jeez.
It is true. I mean, these are
Drew
all
against the dude that just beat Bill Algeo too.
yeah. So and these L's. I mean, look at the resume though. This fight with
Yeah,
Cub
true.
Swanson, that is a fight right there. The Do Ho Choi versus Cub Swanson. If you ever want to see Cub in his prime, and one of the best fights that I can think of, watch that fight. If you can find footage of that fight, it's one of my absolute favorite fights of all time. So that was an absolute banger of a fight. So yeah, Do Hoi Choi has been in some fucking wars. I mean, Swanson, Stevens, and Jourdain, those are. We talk about good losses. I would say that that maybe Jourdain is kind of quite sort of at the cusp of that. But yeah, it really sucks to see that he this trajectory at this point for him, because he has beastly potential. I'd really like to see him get the job done. And I think that Algeo is another really good matchup for him. To be able to show that he can get a win over a guy who has a lot of tricks in his bag, because Algeo is very versatile.
Right. All right. And let's see. The last fight that I want to talk about it's on the prelims. Custom made Cody Durden.
Hey, yes indeed, Cody Durden.
So I'm looking at his record. There's a lot of people that do talk about him on Twitter. He's like one of the guys that people really are high on. And looking at his record, he's been subbed by kind of the big submission guys in the division. Makayev and then Ulanbekov, which not really big, but he's submission.
And
guy.
Jimmy Flick, there's one of the big guys.
Yeah, I was leaving that one out. So can Cody not get subbed? We'll see. Bruno Silva's a little ass dude. The dude's 5'4". It's kind of crazy, but it is flyweight, so that's what happens. And he also lost to Ulanbekov too, by the way, but by decision. So he didn't get finished, I guess.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason that Durden couldn't get it done. I think that the striking is really going to be a bigger deciding factor there. See if either of these guys want to do it.
For sure.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I like Cody Durden. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and then Rusabov is fighting, by the way, fighting Trey Ogden. So that's another.
Nope. That's not Rusabov.
Oh, different. Radzabov.
Yep.
Okay, my bad.
You're good.
Mateusz Rebecki has a win over Esteban Ribovic, though. That's a good win.
But I mean, all in all, I mean, this card isn't bad. It's just another one of those ones where the best fights are sprinkled out through it just to keep you fucking watching.
Yeah, I guess it's amazing to me yet again that we've got some. I mean, now I think that the problem is that a lot of these good fighters are not necessarily at the top of their divisions. So this fight does kind of make sense as a main event because they are closer to the top of their division.
Yeah.
But all that being said, I mean, shit. If honestly, if they can find Mariscal's opponent is TBA,
it's Damon Jackson.
Oh, right, my bad.
Yeah.
Damn. So yeah, make that the main event. Fuck it.
No, well, I mean, and I agree with you, and you gotta just understand, this cannot be. Okay, so the main event that we have right now, this can't be on a pay-per-view. Nobody's wanting this as a co-main 5-round, but it unfortunately needs to be a 5-round because they are towards the top of the division. The only place they can go is the Apex, and there's not a co-main event in the Apex that's 5 rounds. So here's your fucking answer.
Yeah, and I mean, Realize makes a good point about it as well. It is the ESPN era. They want cards every weekend almost. It's we're coming off of a kind of a slow period now after 303. Look, I am always happy to watch fights regardless. So I don't mind when the cards are not like super crazy names and all this kind of stuff. Really, again, we say it every time. Any one of these guys on this card can make this card fucking amazing. You get some kind of crazy performance here. I mean, Dohoi Choi, I would love to see him come back and do what he did in the Cub Swanson fight. That talk about a good loss. I mean, there was no loser of that fight. It was a really insanely paced and very competitive fight. Show out. All you got to do is show out.
100%. Absolutely.
Make it worth our while, gentlemen. That's all we want. So that is a brief look at the upcoming fight night after Denver. And I mean, I guess that is pretty much the whole deal. Is there anything else going on in the sport that we want to go over at the moment?
No, I think that's it. I'm just ready for some fights, man. We didn't have any last Saturday, and now the week's dragging on. Normally, because I have stuff to edit and get out, week flies by.
Yeah, right on. Speaking of which, I hopefully will have a video out this week. I'm going to try to get one out now that I have found. Actually, I guess that's one thing to briefly touch on. I don't want to give away too much, but we had talked a little bit about Khamzat Chimaev's crypto troubles. And I was saying that, I kind of wanted to do a video about it, but I didn't know all of the details. Well, I found out some more of the details, and now I think I have enough information to put together a decently well-rounded video. So I'm going to try to get that out. It's a little bit old news at this point, but still kind of worth covering, I would think. What content stuff you got coming out?
Probably just predictions for this week. Gonna get something out. It's just gonna be a short because there's not much to say that I have on everybody. Tracy, she might even get it. Might even turn to just a Josh Van short or a Tracy Cortez short, aside from like a prediction short, and we'll just see how it goes.
Gotcha. Yep. And so for all of the fights that we just mentioned, both myself and Chase have our individual watch-alongs. You can watch mine here on the Yama channel at Yama Show on YouTube, Twitch, Trovo, and Kick. And Chase, I know that you know where they can find you. Tell them.
Yeah, absolutely. Watch-alongs will happen on Saturdays at youtube.com/@CPSmalls.
There you go. And follow my boy on Twitter. What's the Twitter?
Oh, yeah. And Twitter is @CreativePartin, PARTIN. We
there
get
you go.
lit over there.
Absolutely. Make sure that you follow. Make sure you follow at Yama Show on all your social medias as well. We will be back next Monday to talk through all of the fights that we had just seen and, go over these. We just went over them a little bit here. We'll touch on them a little bit more. And always some stuff coming out as usual. So thank you very much for hanging out with us, guys. We really appreciate you. Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the fights, and we'll catch up with you later. Fight on.